The best pun inside of Cold Harbor today while we were waiting for the golden vendor was definitely, what kind of music do wind turbines like? Well, they're big metal fans. What's going on, YouTube? It's the weekend. We are inside the Hollow City, which is inside of Cold Harbor, which is actually up here on the top left side of the map. And if you were to come over here, you would find yourself a vendor that comes here every Friday night and leaves early Monday morning, depending on when your time zone, but we're pretty much all here when he pops in for the first time. The reason we go over these items is these are exclusive. They are on a rotating basis, and there are some absolutely fantabulous items. Let's start from the top here. Now, these items might seem non-conspicuous at the top. However, as somebody who's ever made a provisioning room for their home, there's really not a lot of good options. And I just want to also point out, if you're new and you haven't seen this before, these are all resellable. So you could buy this skeleton for $9,000 and try to sell it for $20, $50, or however many you would try to sell it for. The skeleton, it does really well as well, but also these wall mounts are slept on pretty significantly, especially these ones such as the horns one. And obviously, you guys already know that this is amazing. These merchant stalls, just the actual wooden stall itself is usually $20,000, and that's a purple item. So imagine this with no bones on it. This is a $30,000 item, and this is going to sell up for a lot more in the future. I could see this easily doubling or tripling in value on console, and it would be worth significantly more on PC because of inflation. Then we have a literal skeletal dragon for $200,000. Lord only knows how much this thing is worth. I didn't even know that this was an item in the game, and I've been doing this golden vendor series for a long time. 200,000 gold is a big price point, but I could easily see this selling for 300,000 in the future, depending on how many people this weekend stock up on these. The Titan skull itself is also really cool. 4,000, good price point. I could see it selling, 8, 10 in the future, depending on how just people throw it in their house. Not a huge fan of the random bones, but finishing off with a wolf head mount, that's actually pretty decent. This is a really good assortment of items, though, I will say. This is a fantabulous thing. Let's hope the other golden vendor is just as good. And now here we are in our second golden vendor of the night. We are here in Northern High Rock, inside our Northern Gate here in the Black Reach campaign. Feel free to go to whatever campaign you want. Before we jump into it, though, we are less than 100 subscribers away from 20,000. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, let's just hit the subscribe button. We'll get to that 20,000, huge milestone. We'll throw a pizza party. You'll all be invited. I'll be like that third grade classroom teacher. Get you a slice about this big and about a cup of limeade about this big. Maybe we could even splurge and get some Dr. Thunder from Walmart, which is a real brand. This is not me just trying to be comedic here. That does exist. Look it up. And we start off with Encretis, which is a great monster set. However, it's important to talk about what these items are and why they're good or not good for you to purchase. This is a helmet. Helmets in ESO that are monster sets can be gained by just simply completing a dungeon on Veteran. If you complete Black Drake Villa, you will get these exact same heads that not have to pay 100,000 to 200,000 AP, depending on if you want to use gold or alliance points. People are farming Black Drake Villa constantly. So yes, dealing flame damage to an enemy grants you Behemoth Aurora for 12 seconds that reaches 12 meters. You and 11 group members reduce flame damage taken by 5%, yada yada, and increase your flame damage by 5%. Great set. Obviously, you can use this for all sorts of cool different things, but people are farming Black Drake Villa for a great set that you're going to see potentially on here later, foreshadowing. So don't buy this. Get it, but don't buy it. Second problem with our monster set helmet here too is the opposite, which is just this one's just not good. So you could complete the banished cells, and you could then, when you take damage, you summon a Shadow Clanfear for 15 seconds. The Clanfear deals damage to $12.99, and then magic damage, applies minor maim, reduces the target, blah 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 blah. Fantastic, not helpful. We could skip this one. I think that there's just so many other sets and ways you can get even like the minor maim, if you're even assuming that that's the reason why you would want this. And if you're using it for some sort of Sork summoning type set, there's just better ways. And 2-piece sets, summon a Daedroth, use that one instead. Oh my gosh, what crazy foreshadowing. Look, it's Kinross. So the reason, if you're not familiar with Kinross, is I think it's an overall amazing set. It does quite a few good things. Let's talk about it. Kinross from Black Drake Villa, which, fun fact, is where you get that amazing monster set from. So while you're farming that, go get these bad boys too. And it's a ring, which you always want to buy. Rings, in my opinion, because a lot of times you need 2 of them. And with how curated sets work, you might not get your second ring for a while. We'll talk about that at the end. Dealing damage with a light or heavy attack grants you a stack of burning for 5 seconds, up to 5 stacks. While you have 5 stacks, you generate an aurora. Gives you major berserk, which increases your damage done while you're grouped. Even an aura of wrath group members within 12 meters also gain minor berserk, which is their damage done by 5%. So great, obviously. Think that everybody understands that. Major berserk, giving minor berserk, doing light and heavy attacks. That's actually what I wanted to talk about. A lot of people sleep on sets that force you to do things that are beneficial. That's why I recommend Clever Alchemists to new players to get into PvP, because you might think, oh, well, you know, most players are not very good at using potions. Yes, but if you getting better at the game is dependent upon you doing something that generally makes you a good player, I feel like it's an easier way to get into better habits. So, for example, if you're just light attacking for funsies, you may or may not actually do it effectively, but if you're light attacking building stacks in the way that Kinroz is going to benefit you, you're probably going to do it a little bit better. And thank you for subscribing, Brooke. You might only need like 80 more subscribers for 20K. Thank you very much. And overall, that's why I think Kinroz is a great set to get into new types of PvE content. One of the best in slot PvE sets in the game. There'll be somebody that when I say that will say that it's in like the top 4 and therefore it's not best in slot because it's not in the top 2. But hear me out. I think it's comfortably in the top 5, regardless of how stingy you are about your lists and your metas. The other piece too, quickly to touch upon, is the curated sets. So a lot of people get confused by this concept. Depending on the type of boss you kill, you're guaranteed to get a piece of armor or equipment that you don't have. How does that work? Let's say a dungeon has 3 bosses, right? Little Timmy, Big Timmy, and then final boss Timmy. Little Timmy and Big Timmy, the 2 non-final bosses, will always give you a piece of gear that you do not have. So it has to be armor. It will give you a piece of armor that you do not have. Once you have all the armor pieces in a dungeon or trial, you are guaranteed then to get a random one. You're always going to get a gear piece of armor from those 2 bosses. Now, once you kill Big Timmy will give you a weapon or a jewelry piece guaranteed that you do not have. Here's the problem with that concept. What if you get a ring and you need a second one? Well, you got to keep killing him until you go all the way through and you've gotten every weapon from all 3 types in that dungeon or trial, and then you can get it again. Obviously, you could trade with your teammates, and chests are non-curated drops. So every time you open a chest, you can get anything. Jewelry pieces, armor pieces, weapon pieces, etc. That's why generally I suggest that people buy rings, because rings are overall going to fill that slot for you. In fact, the best way you can become most efficient is go farm Black Drake Villa like we were discussing, get a ring, and then buy the ring. Because once you buy this ring, it's now in your sticker book, and the game will curate you, when you kill final boss Big Timmy, an item that you don't have. So you might now get a Kinroz necklace, you might now get a Kinroz flame staff, ice staff, sword, or you might get the other sets from there, but you're going to have to cycle all the way back around potentially if you do not have it. If you need more explanation on that, put it in the comments below. I got you. Phoenix Moth, I think, is decent for PvP, that I think is a little bit slept on, because I think that the Minor Courage and Minor Force is a pretty slept on PvE buff to then give to people in a PvP setting. So different types of healers and buffers and ball groups can use it. But overall, not something I'm going to suggest that you purchase. We're really at the price point in the golden vendor right now where you really need to use something that's very good. Kinroz, you can slot into your best PvE sets that you have. Phoenix Moth, you're not going to do that. This is a funny set, and I'm not going to harp on it too long because I know that I've done a lot of extra explanation in this video, but sets like Oblivion used to be really funny for actually profiting gold. So a lot of people don't realize that selling gold, the most effective way was to fill soul gems. Because when soul gems were first created, it was kind of like this, well, we don't want to just give the players the ability to respawn and all this other stuff. You know, we want it to be like a conscious decision, you know, that, oh, do I want to use my soul gems, go back to the way shrine? Now they give them to you like they're candy on Halloween. Back in the day, they were not. And sets like Oblivion, you know, back in the day were actually really sought after for gold makers, because essentially you could farm soul gem filling. It's like a profession. So back then there were people who like their job was to just put like in chat, like enchanting all your armor pieces. You know, I'll do all this stuff for you. You know, I'll craft you all these things, kind of like old school RuneScape before the Grand Exchange. And there are people back then who, like, you know, they would get on and grind filling soul gems. And then refinish on Satiri's, probably mispronounced, I'm sorry. When you bash an enemy, you place a Satiri's Cal on them for 15 seconds. When you hit a light attack, you damage them for 2210 frost damage. Is this good? Not really. It's not bad. It's not good. Not something I would suggest that you purchase. Frost damage is okay. The actual concept of what it's doing is fine, but overall, it's not generally what you want to be doing with a set that you're going to be wearing either as a tank, a PvP tank, or anything like that. Just does not jive with the whole kit and caboodle of what you need to do as a tank. But everyone, let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. We are still doing our 3 giveaway drawings. You might be thinking to yourself, Jake, what is the daily question of the day? And to that, I ask you an interesting one. What item do you hope to see in either the Golden Vendor in Cyrodiil or the Housing Furnishing Golden Vendor inside of Cold Harbor, who also, fun fact, spawns in Craglorn with the exact same inventory? What do you hope to see? Do you hope to see a specific set? Fun fact, if you want to know what the #1 person that, responds says when I ask that question, it is Balorgs. The majority of you ESO players want to see Balorgs in the Golden Vendor, which is why whenever it's there, I get very excited because I know that you guys really love it. So let me know, what do you look for? That way I could be excited when I see it in the Golden Vendor, because a lot of these times I go in kind of blind. To me, Kinroz is great. Dragon Skeletons, awesome. That whole vendor thing looks fantabulous. But, I'd like to know what you guys think, because you guys are obviously the lifeblood of this bad boy. Second thing, be subscribed. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Thank you, Brooke, for subscribing during the production of this video. You guys feel free to subscribe. I love you. Third thing is a random Amazon card to be flashed upon the screen. If you are the first person to enter the gift card code flash throughout the month, you will win. Obviously, sometimes it's on the earlier videos, sometimes it's on later videos. Just keep an eye out for it. It's my reward for you guys listening to all the tangents and the ramblings that you find in these videos. So I have to get back to you somehow. So thank you guys so much again. Have a fantastic weekend. No post outro to save time on this video because I know that it's going to be a long one. So thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.